ahead and call the meeting to order and start with the invocation by Pastor Doug, if you would please.
Thank you. Lord, again, we're so thankful for our country, my God, the freedom that we have and the leaders that we have in our country and in our state. And Lord, in our city, in Rensselaer. And my God, I pray your wisdom upon them, decisions they need to make. I know they're doing it for the betterment of the community. I pray that they would just have insights to things that maybe they didn't think of before, that as they do the best they can to lead this community. And I pray that for this meeting tonight, that all would go well and that all would leave at peace. May your blessing rest upon them. In your name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
All right, we'll start with a roll call.
Mayor Jeff Phillips.
Here.
Clerk Treasurer Shelby Keys. Here. Council members Russ Overton.
Here.
Kevin Arnold.
Here.
Noel Weiser.
Here.
Jeff Rayburn.
Here.
And Ernest Watson Jr.
Here.
City Attorney Todd Sammons.
Here.
Building Commissioner Josh Davis.
Here.
Cemetery Caretaker Joe Eppinger.
Here.
Fire Chief Kenny Hahn.
Here.
Police Chief Matt Anderson.
Here.
Utility Office Manager Heather Smart.
Here.
Lead Line Foreman Garrett Walker.
Here.
Park Superintendent Heather Hall.
Here.
Street Water Sewer Sanitation Superintendent Bryce Black.
Here.
Gas Superintendent Todd Wilson.
Here.
And Assistant Superintendent Josh Eldridge.
Thank you. Council, you reported the minutes of the last meeting. How would you like to act on those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Been a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the last meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. We're now to the citizens' comment portion of the meeting. Is there anybody that wants to address the city council this time? Not hearing any. We'll move into the agenda. First thing on the agenda is the 2025 council president. And I'll actually kind of turn it over to the council. I know Noel was the president last year, and I'm not sure what council wants to do this year, so that's typically up to you. And I'll be happy to listen.
I move we nominate Noel Weiser to continue as council president.
Is there a second? There's been a motion and a second to approve Noel Weiser for council president. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, I don't have to break a tie. Next on there is resolution 01-2025, which is our gas tracker. Superintendent Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. We have a 1 cent increase from last month for the tracker, so as the weather is right now, it's not too bad for 12 months then. What we're doing. Hopefully next month it's not bad.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve resolution 01-2025.
Second.
Been a motion and a second to approve resolution 01-2025. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Next is ordinance 01-2025, separation of Lipner Park. Is that what
Funds.
the funds?
So this came as a recommendation from our audit and from Baker Tilly. We currently have two tip areas, Drexel Park and Lintner Park. Right now, they're all accounted for under one fund. So when we do reporting, we actually have to keep separate books to figure out what each fund, because they bring in separate revenue and have separate expenses. This would be to separate them out year end. We've got the correct numbers to just go forward. All their expenses and revenues would be accounted for in those separate funds instead of combining them together.
And you talked about this in October or something after the audit, right?
Yeah,
You
this has
mentioned
been an
this.
ongoing discussion. I
So
just
this is-
felt year end would be a better time to do it than in the middle of the year.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 01-2022.
Do we need to suspend the
Can we suspend the rule
We can.
and give
motion to suspend the rules, on ordinance 01-2025. Council, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, is there a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 01-2025.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to approve ordinance 01-2025. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, council. Yeah. Next is Brick Street Grimmer pay request number 9, Rice.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is payment application number 9 for Grimmer Construction. It covers the sign installation, zeroing out some of the landscaping work and some of the quantities that were left over from that. And also the change order number 3 for the signal pole foundation work that took place there towards the end of the project. This application is for $56,691.33. And this will leave us with pay application number 10 forthcoming, and that is for release of retainage, and that'll roll out the project.
I make a motion to pay $691.33.
There was a motion and a second to go ahead and pay Brook Street's project in Grimmer, request number 9 for $56,691.33. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Thank you, Council.
All right. Next is the determination of petition to vacate portions of Prairie Street. Josh?
Thank you, Mayor. We had a public hearing there at the beginning of December for Prairie Street and Unnamed Road, where Petitioner Swabs came in and requested to vacate that 20-foot section of Prairie Street remaining on the north end of their property, along with the small portion of Unnamed Road that is between their two properties. At this time, we just need to determine whether you guys would want to proceed with creating an ordinance to authorize that vacation, or if you would like to terminate it. So.
Well, I took a drive out there and drove through that area, and it seems to be tight through there, but, and it looks like it is utilized quite a bit by that and surrounding businesses there, so I know we don't have an objection in writing, but since there was an objection, I think I'm gonna make a motion to terminate the petition, to vacate. But I also would like, well, that could be a separate thing. I guess I'll make a motion to terminate the petition to vacate, since there was an objection to it by the property owner.
Okay. Is there a second? I have a motion and a second for terminate the petition to vacate. Is there any discussion? Is this where you wanted to bring up something?
Well, I think that, I mean, it needs to be kept clear back there and cleaned up, and I think if we leave that, if we leave that and it's vacated, that we need to make sure that it keeps clear, that people can utilize it, maintain it, keep it clear, whatever we need to do.
Is there a property ownership? I don't know if it's a dispute or a question on who owns which property or how certain properties were acquired. I don't know who I'm even asking at this point.
I'm not sure that's something that we need to discuss though on.
Well, no, but, go ahead, sorry.
Just the property ownership. I know what you're saying, but I want to stay away from the property ownership question and as far as the council is concerned, but, I think I know where you're going with it. We just want to make sure it's clear and open to the public.
Right, correct. Yep.
Well, my biggest concern is, I understand that maybe he couldn't have been here, but, anytime we do something like that, I know you got an audio tape here now, but we need something in writing. We gotta have something, or that person needs to be here, that person who's responsible for that needs to be here, so it is put on, on the record, instead of you going through it. I
yourself and you put us in a bad situation when you do that. But if that person is here, or that person makes a statement and put it in writing and sign his or her name, I think that is something that we really need to look at. Cause I'm not comfortable with the whole thing because of that. I just, that person came to you, I can't be there, so talk to them. So, that's my statement on that. And Avery, I know that you're here and you're trying to do that, is that probably the better way to go at something like that?
Well, I mean, I know the statute does kind of allude to the fact that it's expected that someone be here, but it doesn't explicitly say there's a forfeiture of their objection by not appearing in person.
Right.
Or something in that regard. If the council wanted to have their own internal policy that kind of supplements the statute, I don't know that that would be, a violation or a frustration of the code provision. So if there wanted to be a policy put in that would require that and not have proxies, certainly legal representatives or someone else would probably satisfy. But I think if you wanted to have your own internal policy that kind of supplemented the statute, that would be, I would think, appropriate.
All right, so we have a motion, a second on the floor, right, to terminate the vacate. Does that make sense? All those in favor, unless there's any further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye to terminate.
Aye.
No. 1, 2.
I don't know.
All those against, put it that way.
Nay.
Hey,
2? Jeff?
Yes.
So 3. So now, what action do we have, council?
At this point, is it granted?
Yeah, I mean, we can prepare an ordinance for the vacation. I guess I would need to know, as far as split, do you want to split, or would you like it prepared for the whole 20-foot of that Prairie Street to go to Schwab's, or how would you like the ordinance?
We'll send it back to the building department for review, and then bring it back to the council at that
Okay.
point.
Okay.
We'll get with Attorney Walker on what's our best approach.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, council. Next is the 2020 census redistricting. I do know it's January 2025, but here we are. Josh has done a nice job, got with WTH and has some mapping he's prepared for you. I think he's just looking for what direction of the map you want to go. And you got them both up on the screen. Good.
Yeah. So the first option I prepared is kind of trying to keep it in the same kind of general layout as what we currently have. I think I sent you guys an email toward the end of the day with these two on here, or I can zoom in on any area you want. But this was trying to map it as closely as to what we currently have. And then option 2 was just kind of reimagining them a little bit to just try to make them a little bit more north, south, east, west, as best I could, and it kind of lined up a little bit better. With our size city, we are allowed to cross precinct lines. The precincts are kind of all over the place on here. This option 2, just so you can see, I'll zoom in here. Here on 10th Street, I have this little section here going north-south in Ward 1. That's not because I was trying to equalize population. That's a precinct line. So I was just trying to match it up. We don't have to. And if you didn't want this little thing in here, I could lop that off and make that part of Ward 4. We have enough play in what we're allowed as far as the population deviation. I can adjust some things like that. I just kind of need to know which direction you guys prefer, because we just need to prepare legal descriptions for the ordinance based on what direction you guys want to go. And I can represent this again next week. We have till about the end of June before we absolutely have to pass the ordinance. So.
what's the other option? Did you remember?
Yeah. So, yeah, this is option one is just, the main difference between the two is just kind of splitting, north-south 114 heading west between, Ward 2 and Ward 3, which is currently what we are doing.
So this is more like what we have right now?
Yes.
Is there any change to this?
Just in the downtown area.
That one block by,
Yeah, I kind of had to, it went so dark there, sorry. Around Milroy Park here, to equalize population, to get them really close, more than I need to, I moved the Milroy and the Potawatomi Park into Ward 1, and then I had to, for Ward 2, I had to move some, so it just gets cut up a lot downtown than what we currently have. But once again, I can relook at this too, based on what the max difference we can have and see if I can clean this up a little bit, but this is what I came up with, trying to get the populations in each ward as close as possible.
I kind of like just keeping it as close to the way it is now, personally.
There we go. Does that sound like a motion?
Is that, are we looking for a motion?
I don't know that we need to right now, honestly.
Just discussion.
Yeah, really discussion on which way to go, and then we'll bring it back.
Yeah, if you just want, if that's what you prefer, I'll see what I can do to clean that up down to where it looks a little nicer and try to keep it as close as possible. So if that's what you prefer, that's fine.
It doesn't matter much to me. I did like the cleanliness of option number 2, but I could deal with either one.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have to redo this again from time to time?
5 years.
is it 10?
10 years.
It's supposed to be every 10 years, but we're gonna.
Oh, we only have 5 years left, okay.
Yeah. That's true.
So when this is, when these are redrawn or adjusted or whatever, is there, I know in the past, the city voted by ward, and now it's essentially the whole city votes on every ward. Is that an option to go back to that at some point, or, I'm not advocating one way or the other, at least right now, but is that an option? Could it be done at the same time if we decided to go that route?
That would probably be something that we'd have to discuss.
Yes, so the statute says for a third-class city, which we are, with a population of less than 7,000, we can do the at-large voting like we're doing. So, as it stands right now, we're at 5,300, I believe, if I remember right. Or sorry, 5,733 is our total population on the census. That, so once we cross that 7,000 threshold, we can no longer do that, but that's up to you to change that, and that was just passed by resolution. You guys could change that ruling at any time.
What would be the advantage to changing that?
Because it makes sense in my mind, it's the only thing. I have no basis other than that, it just made sense to me.
Kind of like commissioners, the whole county votes on them, but yeah, they're, have to be representative of the one spot.
The only thing to your comment, Jeff, was just that you'd only have to campaign in your district.
That would be.
That part would be good.
That part would be much easier. All right, so we'll plan to go with option 1.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
I'll work on that map more and represent it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your work, Josh.
Yeah, appreciate it. Next would be our Peerless Midwest Planning Team and Caitlin Shale. Did I say it right?
Yes.
If you want to come on up, you can address the council.
Sure, yeah. I'll leave this here for now. So, yes, my name is Caitlin Shale. I'm a hydrogeologist with Peerless Midwest. We've been hired by the city to assist with the wellhead protection update, which is regulated through IDEM. So what that is essentially there's 2 parts to it. There is a delineation portion, so we look at groundwater flow direction and the hydrogeologic components of the aquifer, where the wells are located, and the pumping rates that you guys are using and currently using. And we put that all into a model, and we kind of draw an area around the wells where the groundwater is coming from. We do that in 1 year, 5 year, and 10 year times of travel. So where that water would be coming from around those wells in that amount of time. Once we have that part established, which is the figure we have over here, I can bring it up in a minute, but once we have that established, we then have the management portion of the well protection update as well.
So that is more of, how do we, okay, we have this area that we identified where the water's coming from, how do we protect it? So that's a lot of community involvement that we like to include, public schools, get the kids involved in promoting good groundwater practices and keeping drinking water safe for your community and things like that. This is a state IDEM required program, so we just help facilitate a lot of communities and kind of navigating it. At this point for you guys, it is a 5-year update that is required. So 2020 was the last one, so it's coming due in April of 2025. So we're working with Bryce and the water department to get this all up to date. A lot of the, excuse me, a lot of the updates are just contact updates. I worked with Jerry last time. He's obviously since retired, so any kind of updates like that. And one of the other options at this point, it's not required. It's required for like the phase 1 and the phase 2, which was back in the early mid-2000s that you guys did that. These are all just considered updates at this point. They're a little bit less involved. Is what's called a local planning team. So this is optional at this time, but Bryce said that he wanted to do that, so that's why I'm here tonight. It's open to the general public. We like to try and get council involved or mayors or things like that. Usually Bryce is on it, obviously. We like to recommend that like fire chiefs are on it, because if there was to be a spill or something in the WAPA, they would be one of the first to respond. It's like a hazmat kind of situation. It's really open to anyone who wants to join. We also like to recommend local health departments get involved, just because they, they kind of have, if your area's out in the county like you guys are, then they can have some influence on that as well, from well ordinances, things like that. So that's why I'm here tonight, is just to kind of present that to you guys. I'll get my figure right now, but does anybody have any questions or anything? Yeah, sure. So this is the, I'll turn around, everybody's back right now, but, so this is, we've delineated around all 3 of the city's wells. And as part of this update too, one of the first things we do is we send off your guys' production rates. That's usually what changes. And if the water that you're using, the amount is over what we have put into the model, then the state will require that we update this model. So this part doesn't get updated every 5 years, but we do revisit it every 5 years to make sure that it's still applicable to your guys' water usage. And IDEM already signed off on it and said that we were good to keep this for another 5 years. So that's where we've got for right now. So this is for everybody. Everybody else, like to see, got pretty well delineated. So. Does anybody have any questions or anything like that?
So every 5 years you'll be coming back?
Yes, hopefully. Yes, that's the idea.
The area seems surprisingly small.
Yeah, you guys have a really unique, you have a really low usage of water. It's really small communities, so it's not using a whole lot of water. Also, your guys' wells are so spread out that you have 3 different well fields. A lot of times there will be communities that have just one well field with all of their wells in that one spot, so it kind of makes it a little bit bigger, because they're all kind of combined at that point, so they look a little smaller because they're individual.
So we're doing well.
Yeah, you're doing great. Yep.
Well with the wells.
We're doing well to well.
Probably did that on purpose.
Not me.
So I do have a sign-in sheet I can pass around if anybody would like to join. It's open obviously to the public as well. Like I said, we like to, I know the fire chief stepped out, but police or anything like that want to join as well. It's usually about once a year. We like to recommend that you guys have a meeting just to kind of get together and say, hey, has anything changed within this well protection area? Any new businesses that might come, that you might hear come to town that could pose either a risk to the groundwater, or might be a big user that we would then have to, increase pumping or add another well or something like that. Just kind of, it's not supposed to be a really big time commitment, but we recommend about once a year that you guys get together and with Bryce and go over anything, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, great. Well, thank you guys for your time. I'll pass around the sign-in sheet for anybody that wants to sign up, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Bryce, is there anybody that you wanted to see on the committee?
Would like to have representation from the treatment plant, so Ryan or somebody from
Anyone else?
Okay.
You want health department, fire department?
Yeah.
Okay. And we can just put that together and get it to Caitlin and, council, any council members want to be on board?
Just compile and then we'll get it to you.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
And then we'll have Councilman Rayburn on there also. Thank you for volunteering. All right. Next on it is the Jasper County Community Service Contribution. I believe we voted on this last fall. I just want to bring it to council's attention, just in case somebody sees a nice claim like that coming through and has a question about it. Next is the digger truck down payment request. Garrett?
Thank you, Mayor. The digger truck is ahead of schedule. It is shipping to Versalift Southeast in North Carolina. Once the unit is received and checked in, they will be sending an invoice to us for a prepayment of $97,668. We do have the funds. We will be using the rest of the Watt substation construction bond, which is $167,772. So after using that, the remaining balance would be $149,720, which will come from depreciation. And delivery will be in early 2026. And the remaining balance to be paid then. Just trying to get this, keep the ball rolling. If we were to get the invoice from now to the next council meeting.
Any questions, council?
What'd you say that was?
97,668.
Make the motion. Yeah, pay the 97,000.
Is there a second? Been a motion and a second to go ahead and make the down prepayment for the digger truck for $97,668. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you, council.
All right, it'd be nice to see that when it gets here. Next, the burial rights request.
There was a request from Melissa Miller for 5 spaces in the 2002 edition of the Weston Cemetery.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Been a motion and a second to approve the burial rights request. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Next are the nepotism forms.
I just wanted to put in minutes that I've received the nepotism forms for 2025 that deal with direct line of supervision and contracting with the youth. So I will file those.
Thank you. All right, next on our agenda are the claims approval, council.
I'll make a motion to approve claims.
Second.
Been a motion and a second, I'm not sure from who. I heard 2 of them over here, I thought. Okay. To approve the claims, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, our committee reports. I don't know if council has any committee reports that they want to talk about. The only committee report that I was going to talk about is we are trying our first live stream tonight. So hopefully if things continue to progress well, we'll hopefully draft another policy to put in our new policies and procedures, and we'll move forward from that point on. So if you ever get a chance to look it up on YouTube, please feel free to do so. Administrative comments. I wanted to thank the line department. I'll start off by thanking the line department for going down to Henderson, Kentucky. They got the bad end of the last snowstorm actually turned into ice. I think a couple of our guys went down there and received a nice thank you letter from Henderson, Kentucky's utility people for getting their power restored. So, Garrett, make sure you thank both those guys for doing that. We'll also, just to let the council know, we met with Baker Tilly accountants, and we're looking to develop a holistic type spending plan for the city of Rensselaer so we can have a little more planning in place. We notified all the superintendents today that Baker Tilly may be talking to them about what their capital project plans are. This goes right along the line with our budgeting we started, so it gives us a little more pre-planning, and we're reviewing some of the cities in our area that already have started projects like this that would help, hopefully, not just keep our tax rate normal of what it is right now, but also help us combat any possible rate increase that may come up in the future. So if we have a department that's struggling a little bit, hopefully we can slide some funding over to those departments and keep our rates where they need to be, and then keep our tax rate where it has to be. So you'll soon be getting a presentation from Baker Tilly on this project. All right. Clerk Treasurer,
I don't have anything.
Mr. Watson.
Are we doing anything or making suggestions about the cold weather and the water? I think we put something out. Do we need to, remember how we used to have it dripping and everything? Are we putting anything like that out these days?
Ernest, I had put something out a couple of weeks ago. We had some weather, but it's been a couple of weeks.
I know that we're working on an app, but the next, 3 or 4 days, then it's gonna warm up and then it's gonna get really cold again. So I just didn't know if we wanted to do something like that or not.
I have some public notices that are already drafted that I can get over to Heather and get it printed out and then get it to Darian and get it on the website and everything.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Councilman Rayburn.
He's gone, but I'll say it anyway. There was something on social media about regarding the fire department and Chief Hahn specifically helping out a hearing impaired woman. Just want to give him kudos for that. It sounded like it was handled in the exact right way. So.
Good.
He's not here to hear it, but I'll say it anyway.
Thank you. Anything else? Councilman Weisher.
I don't have anything this evening, thank you.
Councilman Arnold.
Have we made progress on a mass notification system, or are we still pursuing that, or are we not?
We haven't. I know, I gotta get with Chief Anderson. We talked about a couple of things that we would like to look at. The sheriff still recommends one program over another due to costs associated with it. But one I did look at was the AIM one. I think Shelby thought that would probably be a better fit for us.
Something that other cities maybe are using.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get together with some of the other cities and figure out what some of them use and what they don't. And I kind of wanted the police department to have external control over the thing. So if they need to really notify people, they can have that too. But thank you for asking.
Did you say you sat in on a
I did. A workshop.
Okay. Do you remember the city or town that presented that? By chance? You can tell me later.
I will. Let me think.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, I did have a complaint actually this morning about the alley between Warner and Jackson to the north and south, and Elza and Jefferson to the east and west, as Bryce is walking out. There's a bus, I guess, that there's an apartment building there on the west end of that block, and there's a bus that picks people up and drives down the alley, which is not, there's no stone in the alley, it's not paved, and it's running it up. I drove by there tonight after work, and with the snow and the ice, it's hard to see anything, but, so that may be another alley to keep our eye on as we move forward.
Anything else?
That's it.
Russ?
I guess I had nothing right tonight, I guess.
The only other thing is we did meet over policies and procedures, and we'll go back to the HR group that we had to look at it with some of the corrections that we've done, and hopefully get it out to the superintendents prior to getting it to the council to have them approved. There's just a couple little more steps that we have to do, but
I'd say one or two more drafts, and we should be good to go.
yeah. So I want to thank Shelby and Jessica for all the work they put into that also. Next, our superintendent reports. We'll start with Chief Anderson.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing tonight.
Attorney Sammons.
Nothing to specifically report on, Mayor.
Heather.
I have nothing this evening, sir.
Josh.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to mainly make the council aware of some meetings here. So this week we have Plan Commission meeting at 5:30 and BZA meeting at 6:30. And then on the 23rd, we are going to be having a redevelopment authority meeting at 3:30 here in the council chambers. We have, I think we've determined that we're going to cancel the meeting for the redevelopment commission this month and just meet on the 3rd next month at their regularly scheduled meeting. And then we are going to have I sent everybody an email so you have a little more details, but just want to announce in the meeting here that we will have a special plan commission meeting on the 27th at 5 p.m. before the council meeting. The purpose of that meeting is that there's going to be a rezone petition being heard, and then also an amendment to the subdivision control ordinance that will be presented to you later that night at the council meeting for approval. So if you could put that on your calendar and attend that, I would like for you guys to be part of the discussion. I will get you information on all that stuff ahead of time, but if we need to, if you guys have something you want changed in that amendment or anything like that, it'd be great to get that done at the plan commission meeting. That way I can get the draft fixed and presented to you correctly at your meeting. So, and then final thing on here, also for next council meeting, we will have a hearing for a petition to vacate an alley in the Austin Paxton subdivision for Kim Wright. It's on the north side of Vine Street, right on the city limits. So it should be much simpler than the one we were dealing with tonight.
Agreed. Agreed. Any questions for Josh? Fire Chief, good to see you're back.
Yeah.
You have anything for council?
Yeah, duty calls, so, just a reminder, our awards banquet, if you haven't registered yet, I don't remember what the deadline is, I'm looking on my calendar and I don't remember, but I need those as soon as possible. And then the only other thing I have is, we're starting fire academies, fire schools as early as February 17th, with a graduation will be August 23rd, so we're busy.
Sounds like it's good news. All right. Anything else?
No, sir, unless there's any questions.
Hearing none. Garrett?
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing for this evening.
Okay, thank you. Bryce?
Just an update to the council. We brought it before the Board of Public Works before this, but the I-65 plans are scheduled to be in our possession for review by the end of this week, and the Commonwealth intends to be here the first February meeting, I believe they said it was the 10th, to get the next steps and beginning the bid process for that project.
It's exciting. Anything else?
No, sir, that is it this evening.
All right. Josh, you got some good news for us?
I do.
All right.
Last Tuesday, the recycling department took possession of their new truck that they pulled the trailer with. So we're excited about that. We're waiting for Raycon to come and put the radio in it so they can begin using it. Just want to thank the county and Northwest Indiana Solid Waste District for helping us with the funds for that.
And do we know when the next meeting is?
I did get an email back from her today, and she said, as of right now, they plan on having the meeting. She told me to keep an eye on my emails because she will let me know if something changes.
All right.
So I think we're on the right path, but 27. Yes, I believe so.
The sooner we can know, the better off it'd be. All right. Thank you for following up on that. Heather Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. Our move to the light plant continues. I have a meeting scheduled later this week with an architect to look into the possibilities of developing the whole facility at the light plant. We have taken possession of a hand-me-down mini dump truck. Thank you, Street Department. We're excited about that. And we are planning the first ever disc golf open tournament February the 1st.
And you're looking for people to register for that?
Yes.
All right. I'm sure there'll be several council members out there February 1st, ready to throw a frisbee. Thank you for getting a program like that started. Todd, you're next.
Thank you, Mayor. We're gonna put a new gas line into the light plant and move the meters that are inside, outside, and get those completely out of there. And then eventually, here soon, we're gonna add another gas line for future, for the cold storage that's in there right now, the bigger part. So we're sitting there waiting. And I've got 2 interviews tomorrow, and I've got 1 on Wednesday for somebody for the gas department. And all 3 of them have welding experience, which is something that we need. I have 1 that welds, but I need to have a backup, so.
All right.
I got something to ask you. You know, I know you're a little nervous tonight and everything. You have to speak up, man.
Okay.
All right, just wanna- You started off okay, then you just kind of disagree.
All right.
Take a breath.
Okay.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Joe?
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing this evening.
All right. Stacy, anything from insurance side?
No, Mayor, thank you.
All right. Thanks for facilitating that with our new safety director also. I appreciate that.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right. Council, what's your next move?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Mhm.